First off, congratulations. You have been appointed to be an executor by a Texas court of an estate. You now have the responsibility to get everything organized and put together. My law professor for wills and trusts in law school said, being an executor is like doing drugs. You just say no. But you said yes, so we're going to go through this. Before we get into this too far, if you want to reach out to me, I have a probate intake and Texas executor duties checklist. You can email my staff and we can get this over to you, but this will go step by step on everything I'm going to go over in this video, explaining what needs to get done moving forward. As a duly appointed independent executor in the state of Texas, you must do the following. File your oath of office within 20 days of your appointment. Now, for my clients, we will do this for you. File your bond, if required, by the court within 20 days of your appointment. For my clients, my staff will reach out to you and help you if you have to do this. Most courts waive the requirement, especially if it's written within the will. Within a month after receiving letters, you are required to publish notice to claimants as required by section 308.051 of the Texas Estate Code. Also, you are to file the publisher's affidavit with the original newspaper article with the court. Once again, with my staff, we will do this for you. This is part of what you paid for at the beginning. We will go through and make sure all this is done. For every person who died on or after April 1st, 2007, the personal representative appointed after a will is probated must notify all the beneficiaries named in the will within 60 days of the date the will is probated. The notice must include a copy of the will and an order admitting the will to probate. Waivers are permitted. Personal representatives must prove that they complied with the requirements by filing an affidavit within 90 days of the probate. Once again, we'll do this for you. We will help you through this process. What a waiver is all the heirs of the estate may waive this requirement. So a beneficiary may say, hey, I don't want you to have to go through the trouble of making sure that gets done. They'll sign a waiver and we'll file that with the court. If we don't get those waivers, then you need to send out this to every beneficiary. File an inventory, appraisement, and list of claims of the estate within 90 days after taking the oath as required by 309.051 of the Texas Estate Code, or an affidavit in lieu if authorized by a will. This process takes some time. You probably don't know right now, if you're just starting off, all the assets that are in the estate for us to do an inventory. And there's some important things that my staff will help you through, but they'll get this information, they'll email you what they need, and we will put it in our system so we make sure that we won't miss this for you. The following 10 items are things that you as a personal representative can do without the help of your attorney, but you might want to include your attorney. My office did not charge you up front to do these items. There will be additional costs if you want us to do this. Just email us any one of these things that you would like help with. Obtain a tax certificate number for the estate. This is pretty simple to do online. You go to irs.gov and you just type in tax ID and you can do it online. Very important though, make sure that when it gives you that certificate or it gives you the printable version, you print it off right then or save it, because you won't be able to go back and get that number. You need to make sure that you get it right then at that point. You don't want to lose it. File the last tax return. I'm not a CPA. I do not file taxes, nor do most attorneys. You need to go get a CPA to help you file the last tax return. There are some instances where you do not need to file a tax return. Your CPA should be able to help you know that. Gather all financial assets of the decedent and deposit them into a bank account. Look at bank accounts to see if any money was being transferred to unknown accounts or purchasing life insurance. Get a credit report. Look through the mail. Check Texas unclaimed property. If you would like for us to do an accounting for you, you can email us and we can create an accounting for you of the property. You can also do this with your CPA who is handling the final tax return. You are required to handle the debts of the estate. If a creditor files a claim, you are responsible to handle it. If you have no notice of a claim within the notice to creditor period, which is going to be 60 days after we file it. So we have a 60-day waiting period that creditors have a right to come and file a claim. If you do not know of any claim, you will be able to later on distribute the property. If you are selling real property, please be careful. No self-dealing unless all the beneficiaries agree in writing. You can use my title company, WG Title, to handle the closing. We deal with probate closings all the time, and we know how to get around the complex issues that can arise. If you are my client and you use another title company, and they call me to gather documents for them and help them, there will be an additional cost. If a vehicle is upside down, contact the lien holder to repossess the vehicle. If it has equity, then try to sell it. The easiest way that I have found is just do it at CarMax. Dividing up the personal property can be the most difficult task. The rule is if everyone agrees, you can distribute the item to a certain individual. Please get this in writing. If the beneficiaries are fighting over an asset, it needs to be sold. This brings me to my next point. Notify me or your attorney if you are about to get sued. If someone says, I'm going to contest this, you need to take this seriously. Attorneys love to file lawsuits in probate cases because they know that they're going to get paid. After you have waited for the notice to creditor period to pass and handled all the debts of the estate, then you can distribute the property to the heirs. It's common for people to get upset years later and then try to go back after the executor for things the executor done out of kindness, out of their heart. Be very careful distributing any assets that are not specifically stated within the will. If you want to protect yourself, the easiest way is you can hire me. I'll be happy to draft a document for you to send off to everybody that they're going to sign and a release, and then we'll send out the checks, or you'll send out the checks to everybody after they have signed, ending any type of possibility of people coming back after you. And if they do come back after you, then you'll have a contract to sue under.